This is round two of the Mainstreet Movie Club. I'm back with my great friends, my great cinephiles who come to watch movies with us. So this is our breakdown. We got two mics this time. Okay. So we got one to pass around each way. So we just gonna break this down. Does anybody want to come with their initial thoughts, initial reactions, how they feel? We let Desh start us up.
Why not? So I thought it was great. Um, I just watched 3 and 4 back to back earlier this week. We watched 3, and then I I watched 4 after everybody went to sleep, and was trying to get to 5, but didn't get back to 5. Um, I thought it was well done and well paced because people rush a lot of these types of films and just get to the killing and stuff. But I think the dialogue was pretty solid. Like the dynamics were pretty believable, and it was a very like self-aware and self-deprecating film. It was like the franchise writers making fun of themselves while continuing the franchise. So it was really funny. Aside from being just funny, it was funny in that regard too. If you're like a fan of the series, and I thought that was a really nice touch. I'm interested in, this feels like it feels like it could be a sign off, but they still left room to come back because they left. We don't know if JB had any kids, right? So we don't know if JB had any kids. And then the Kimberly character they brought up was, I think, from 2, where she drove into the river and drowned and was actually clinically dead. So they brought her back from like 20 years ago. So that could be a whole other storyline where somebody is experiencing this and comes and tries to find her or whatever. So there's, I don't know. I thought it was cool. They did a good job of leaving some doors open, but
Mhm.
also that could close the chapter on the franchise, and that would be a good close to it.
For sure. Would anybody else got it?
I also liked it. I thought it was very funny and entertaining. Uh More so than the other ones. The other ones take themselves very, very seriously, I feel like. And but this one was uh very self-aware. Like you said, you could tell that they knew that people were familiar with the beats and stuff, and the stuff that they added didn't, in my opinion, detract from anything. I really liked the characters in this one. I feel like I'll remember these characters more than a lot of the ones from the other ones, with the exception of 2. I thought the characters in 2 were pretty good. But this one, with the family angle, specifically the older brother who is got a different sort of remix to how he's doing. I will say the way that he died, I leaned over to my friend and I made a joke about a specific type of piercing.
And he had it.
Like 20 minutes before that happened.
Oh, yeah.
And I was very proud of myself and quite shocked. But no, it's very fun. Got a good little tee out of me. And I understand why some people might be exhausted by it, but that just seeing how the sort of mousetrap set up for each death comes to fruition, but also there's so much neglect happening. There's so much neglect. The glass falls into the ice. You broke the glass by the ice. And maybe this is just me as a former bartender. You broke the glass near the ice. You're supposed to get that ice out of there. You're supposed to burn all of that ice. But they didn't. Because that's what people do. But but yeah, I liked it. Anyway.
Okay. You know what? I think I may not have had children before I saw the other ones. So maybe that's why I'm exhausted, because there was so much neglect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you letting your college age daughter leave to go. I mean, there was just a lot of things that left me like, that would not happen. I work in a hospital. Half of those things would never happen. You have to go through so much to get to any type of radiation or like ultrasound. Like that's not gonna happen. But I will say Zay, right? Kez. I knew it was a Z. Kez has reminded me to suspend your reality when you're in horror. And that's what it's hard because the last movie we saw, like you were saying, was horror. And I didn't have to suspend reality for that. Like it was very much like, oh, this could really happen. The Sinners. These things could really happen outside of the vampires, which I actually kind of believe in, but that's another story for another day. But this I had to suspend reality so much. I think that's what, and then of course just waiting for people to die. It's like, oh my God, please just kill them already. Just get it over with. My anxiety. I was just please hurry up and kill him. And then you think they're scot-free, and then the doctor comes in. I won't say anything for a spoiler. I don't know if we can talk about spoilers, but anyway, I didn't love it. And I think part of that is because I saw Sinners so recently, and it's just like they're not the same, but it just set the bar so high. It would be like seeing Get Out and then seeing this. It's like I gotta like cleanse my palate and then watch it again, I think.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing about this movie was that it changed from the previous movies. And the fact the whole premise was very different, right? You don't have to sit and watch everybody go through the same steps of figuring out the order. I mean, it kind of did, but it wasn't like as long lived as it was in the previous movies.
Yes.
And that was kind of the best thing because you already knew if you watched the trailer, right, what the whole premise was of it's a family and blah blah blah. And so you know that they're going to die at some point. You're just waiting for how they're going to die, and you're excited.
Fake you out, real.
Yeah. Like the way that they start make you anticipate things that may or may not be there, and then they may come up later, an hour later, whatever. Right? Nah, it was pretty cool. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm definitely going to add this to my list of to-be things to watch in the future.
I was very surprised that all the guys liked it. Did you like it? Okay, one girl didn't. Okay.
I thought no, man. I thought it was. I just feel like all the Final Destination movies are just like fantastically absurd, and so I kind of that's my expectation coming in is like, oh, this is gonna be wild, and I'm not gonna see what's coming, and I kind of like trying to piece together with the camera angles what is the next thing that's going to kill someone, or do I need to remember that? And they throw some red herrings in there where it's like, oh, I didn't actually need that. I needed the thing that was next to it. So I enjoy those aspects of it. But yeah, okay, another question. Yeah.
I think one of my favorite moments in there is the kind of like the red herring situation where the older brother is like, "What? You think Death's gonna get me?" And then the truck barely misses him because literally every other Final Fantasy, wow, Final Destination movie has that moment where somebody's like, "Yeah, but I'm me." Whatever, and then yeah, boom, right there, and in some way or another, and they totally faked this out with that because I was like, this dude's gonna get got, and they're like, oh no, it's the sister. Oh, wow.
Can we talk about spoilers on
That's yeah. We can go wherever we need to go. And yeah, I agree with you. It's a lot of the previous Final Destinations have been real serious, and I think it was CJ who said that. And this one felt
Whimsical.
very whimsical, and it felt like they were like, we're gonna be a lot more comical than just straight on. This is going on. Like it was very very funny. Just the setups, the suspense, kind of how anxious they had you the whole time. Because they had me hella anxious. Just like, oh, what's about? We know it's coming. How is it gonna happen? Like they did a good job of just setting up. Because like you said, this is a franchise I didn't expect to last this long. Because I said I think this is what 14 years since 14 since the last one. It's been 25 years total. And so it's like I remember seeing this when I was in 2000. What I was like 9 years old when the first one came out. And so it's like I remember seeing the first one, and of course being scared and not wanting to be on planes and whatnot. And they good for traumatizing you. And so it's crazy they've lasted this long and have like kind of shifted and evolved it to still be entertaining. And I'm with you. I'm kind of this was my problem with like seeing movies after Marvel, because you get used to something and it's hard to like watch movies in a different light when they're just one piece. So we watched Sinners, which was like super deep and hella layers, and we get to something like this in the horror, and you can get let down because you got to kind of retrain yourself. Like, no, this is a different world. It's a different concept. It's a different, it's light. Yeah, it lives as its own thing. Yes, everything ain't got to be that, and which is fine. We love Sinners for that, but some stuff can just be. I like horror. I like to see some gore, some goofy stuff. And so it's different. Like I said, I enjoy it. It's fun. It's a fun movie to watch, especially if you into that. I'm not a horror guy, so this will be the only time I watch it. And I'm not for sure.
Every time we're right about to get to the death of a given character, everything was getting so outlandish that you kind of just have to sit back and go, this diva. This girl's got it out for him. Stunts and shows. Stunts and shows. Just explosions. Just the way that this franchise is trying to just get people to just hate lumber.
Now that's the conspiracy.
They trying to save one tree at a time every time these movies come out. Oh my gosh. I just like, you can't escape it. It's really, but like you said, I like it when horror is funny because it's tension and release. So you've got all that anxiety going, but when it happens, what happens is so like out there and so absurd that like the laugh brings back a sort of sense of safety. And then the family aspect of it was just interesting because I feel like that's a way for me to care about the characters more. So yeah, like I said, I liked it.
No, that's good. We can go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, of course I didn't like it, but I can appreciate how strong like the branding of the franchise has been. I didn't realize it's been 25 years, but
Crazy.
how that's lived with us, how none of us will drive behind a truck full of lumber. How
Never.
so in Sinners, when the preview came on, did we all know that was Final Destination as the series of unfortunate events began unfolding? Like, so it's just like I appreciate how strong that brand has persisted throughout the years, and hopefully it's come to a close.
No, that's good. Well, we'll pass this down to CJ. We're gonna start there since you brought it up. So, how did you feel about the deaths in this movie? And you kind of spoke on that. And then also, which one stuck out to you the most? But
which one stuck out to me the most? There's one without spoilers.
Oh, you can.
Oh,
It's
we
cool.
can spoil.
Yeah.
Okay, so mom's dying at the cabin was really incredible because not only is this really campy and really funny, but they're still playing with that emotionality kind of. So you're just like, oh. Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna stay alive as long as I can, and then death get her just right, and she did as long as she could.
Yes.
She was right. Look, it's just really it was in.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? I would say the death that sort of I was like, this what kind of time we on? I'm sorry, but the one that was like this what kind of time we on is old boy in the elevator at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh
That was rough.
boy. I was like,
rough. Yeah,
I was like,
rough.
okay, it's silly time.
Yes, that one was rough. And it's funny too, because the moms in the cabin, it took a while to get to it, but you saw the fire extinguisher fall as soon as she walked in the door. And it took like 5 minutes before or maybe even longer before it came into play. But it's crazy how they just set that up so early. Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
I'm gonna go with the older brother, just because there was so much misdirection, right, in that one scene where you knew that it made you think that one person's gonna die, and that person did not right away, but you weren't expecting the older brother to die because of everything that happened before, right, and the conversations that occurred. So for him to have died in that way in that time was kind of wild to me. It was really unexpected, but also I do appreciate the fact that they had an MRI machine for research purposes in a hospital, because that's
it was man, like this is the strongest.
I mean it was hilarious.
Like they got the industry grade.
Yeah.
MRI machine.
Yeah, I mean they're capable, but that's crazy. That's ridiculous. Just pressing the enter key on the keyboard will do that to you.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So yeah, I mean
Right.
that was pretty crazy. Definitely that scene, and I guess I mean I have allergies too, and I don't carry an EpiPen, so now I'm afraid to eat things. All right.
That was OD though. They could have just let him die from movie.
Yeah. The hospital saying Big Brother. That's where they lost me because I was so annoyed with how they just did not leave that room. Like, why are you still in there? There was no reason. You could have been on your way to the ER. Like, there was no reason for them to be there. Anyway, that wasn't my standout scene. I loved when the sister died because the way she got bopped in the head and then flipped into the into the garbage can, that just really tickled me. And that one little part. But then I didn't think that the other ones were as gory. I don't know. Maybe I didn't pay attention, but seeing like the heads and the arm, I don't like that. I'm not a horror girl
get it.
either.
I'm with you.
And I didn't really like the gore, but yeah.
I like the dad scene, the lawnmower, because the lawnmower was not like they kept faking us out with it. Like they started with the glass, and we thought he was gonna drink the glass, and then we didn't know who was, because they kept faking us out on which glass which glass the glass was in. You know what I mean? So it's like it was one dad, the other dad, and the sister, and then they go to the trampoline, and they got the thing under the trampoline, and they're like. They're moving us all around and got us, going to these other places, and it's just a setup for a setup, just for. She told the kids about the thing under the trampoline, the little the rake, and then the rake ended up getting knocked over anyway, and Dad falls into a fucking lawnmower that randomly gets turned. Like, dog, are we kidding me? And then of course the family doesn't believe it after it goes down. So I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I was telling them the death that I just kind of had a light bulb moment with was an unseen death that happened in real life. So if you follow the plot along, JB dies last after all of those characters die.
Mm-hmm.
And so we watch the whole movie, all the characters die. Who's next? JB, and then in real life, and then they show on the screen in loving memory of Tony Todd. Isn't that crazy?
Very so.
I had to be intentional, of course,
Yes.
but I also thought that was just kind of that was kind of poignant for sure.
And if y'all don't know, JB is Tony Todd's character in the movie, and who passed. Tony Todd is Candyman, a classic horror legend, who passed away from cancer. Was it cancer? Okay, yeah, he passed away from cancer, and they knew before he shot this. I actually thought it was really cool what he said. You never know how much time you're left and how much he was just going to go enjoy his life, because you don't know, you know what I mean? None of us know, and unfortunately death is coming for everybody at some point. Which is always funny with these movies, because nobody actually survives in the end. Like everybody in all of these movies has died at the end of the movie. Yes, and if you so happen to survive, like you're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
So,
I would say my death that I kind of really liked, I guess, was the grandma, or Iris, yeah. Just because, like, kind of like the sentiment behind it, because she knew she was going to die, but then she still kind of went out there just kind of show her granddaughter of what she was kind of saying, to try to like get her to believe her, to kind of like set up like kind of the whole story for the most part.
I have been trying to think of what my favorite one is, so I'm just gonna steal yours. As I'm, someone trying to save her family, and it just occurred to me, I'm slow. That's the problem. I'm slow. I'm like, why did the granddaughter start getting the premonitions? Because her grandmother was about to die. So I guess it was like death is like, all right, y'all next after I kill her. But I don't know why I didn't think about it, because it wasn't intentionally going to be a gruesome death. Or a murder, I should say. Like that was just gonna be a natural. Not that cancer is natural, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm just gonna say the way that the grandmother died with purpose. It wasn't accidental.
Yeah.
It was very much intentional, and it was to save her family. Like she was like, "Well, shit, if I gotta show you, then here we go."
Yeah.
Here we go. And that did start the chain reaction, even though they all died. So, Grandma Iris could have stayed in the cabin for all we know. But then they wouldn't have known, I guess, how to go on this adventure. I don't know. Is this Goonies? I don't know.
It felt like an adventure movie at one point. Like low key. Yeah.
It did feel like an adventure movie. They probably would have all died in the set, like something explodes at the house thing or something.
Take everybody
together.
out.
I'd say, I don't know if I have a favorite death, but the one that stuck out to me the most is a little brother, because they were already in motion with the plan, even though dude fucked with death and died for it. All he had to do is not use the EpiPen. He would have stopped the cycle.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, there's a chance that they may have gotten to him before he died. But if the nurse was just got there after, that's...
But he didn't know the nurse was there. He used the EpiPen before the nurse came in.
Yeah.
But if he would have died, he would have had to be resuscitated.
He would have had to be resuscitated, would have stopped the cycle. And he's in a hospital.
How would he have known he would have been resuscitated?
He didn't know, and he freaked out.
He was supposed to die.
Supposed to die. He was gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well roll the dice.
Yeah.
And see if you could get revived and stop the cycle.
He couldn't commit. He couldn't commit to dying.
Yeah, and if he had just... that's totally understandable.
Yes.
It's totally understandable. But if he had done it, he would have stopped the cycle.
Right.
So he fucked up. After all that. That it is. You're right. You're right. It is a dumb scene.
That was definitely like the pivotal.
He didn't have all of his.
I'm just gonna say I enjoyed the sister, mostly just because it was gory, and the fact that I thought she was gonna get squished in there, but the fact that they got just enough eyeball out of there, that was entertaining. So
Sick. Okay. So actually, I have a question. Considering Iris being in that cabin and trying to save her family basically for however many, this was clearly like decades. Had to be like 30, 40 something years. Could any of you guys be Iris to save your family? Like, could you see yourself just sitting in a cabin with nobody else? No? No? Could anybody?
No. And the reason why I'm going to say no is because you're not living. So what's the point? I mean, it's like, I would rather pass on, like I could be in the cabin for a year while I pass on my knowledge, like document everything and whatever, and then pass it on. But just to stay there, just to keep people alive that don't even have any idea I'm doing it, and they think I'm crazy.
Yeah,
I'm a nutbag, like nut job. No, nut check. That's what it was. Sorry. If you see it, you'll know. But I personally would not stay there for that long. I would do it for a certain amount of time, pass on the information. But also, she's not in her right mind because she's only thinking about death. So I get it. But no, I couldn't do it.
No, couldn't.
She kept that penny at bay.
That's true.
The penny was in the book under Scotch tape. What an ad for Scotch tape. I'm just saying. It is. Say again?
Didn't people die before the penny dropped out?
Yeah.
That's the thing. But it seemed like it was everybody else except for her. This thing been gone for 14 years. It got all those other people way back when. And then she kept it all at bay because the penny was in the scrapbook.
No, the dad died before the penny dropped out. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he die before the penny?
Did he die before the penny?
He dropped out when she took the book.
When she took it from the kid.
The uncle died after. Everybody started dying after.
Yeah, everybody started dying after
That's
penny.
the
She
thing.
fell out like very early.
Yeah.
When she first got
No, it didn't fall out.
Now, what would have happened if she would have gone somewhere and melted that penny?
Oh no, you're right. The dad died first because then she took the book apart and put it out.
Oh, really? Oh, dang. Well, there goes my theory.
Well, maybe the penny being outside of the realm of security, maybe that could be a part of it.
Again, Scotch tape. Wow. Wow, we could have solved this whole thing. We could have took this. We could have took these people to Staples and, solved this whole thing.
What year was that? Did they have Staples then? They might have not had good taste.
She not going to Staples.
I'm sure that somewhere was selling stationery.
That was like 1940s tape.
They don't make they don't make that kind of tape no more.
They have duct tape.
Okay. I'm about to say, did anybody else? I don't know if I could live like that, bro. I really don't. I don't know if I could just be cooped up. Because, I mean, I guess she's keeping her family alive. But, yes, I don't know if I could. I don't know. I couldn't do that for my life.
I don't think I could necessarily, but I do have novel concepts that I'm worried I may not get to because I'm trying to do all this other stuff that has more of a, not a shelf life, but like that I can't start doing when I'm old.
Yep.
But I can start writing the books when I'm older.
Yep.
So if I was in that situation, I'd probably just like write the books that I have in my head, see what happens with them, even if nothing goes, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe, but probably not.
Yeah. I understand.
Couldn't do it. You like the public too much.
I do like the public.
Yeah.
So, out of all the characters, which character were you guys most invested in? Anybody got it? Which character are you guys most invested in out of every? The little brother?
He was so sweet.
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
Well, I do the main
Reyes.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
You straight? Yeah, the
actually,
little brother
yeah,
or the other little
the main
brother?
girl's little brother.
Okay.
Just because I was just like, oh, well, he's the youngest, and you know, you don't want to see kids die or anything like that, except for that one kid.
Whoa, man.
Except for the kid with the damn penny. It's his fault. He died, and then his spirit possessed that penny, and that's where all this came from. That's what all it came from, because he was nasty, and
He didn't die. He got saved.
Oh dang.
She got.
He died. Oh yeah, because that was only
he
in the
died at some
premonition
point
because
later.
it didn't happen. That was another thing. The idea. I think this was the first time the premonition happens in one of these movies where it saves everyone, where
That's true.
nobody dies.
That's true.
So
Because
that
there's
was
usually some people who don't believe the
yeah,
premonition.
and then the plane blows up.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah,
catch a
yeah,
race
yeah.
car wheel to the face, and that's what happened, y'all.
That is what happened.
That is what happened.
I think this is also the first time the premonition was not like the main character.
Yeah.
Because it's usually the main character is the premonition. But she got a premonition of a premonition.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, old one. I think it's impressive how they're able to like keep this going. Because I randomly when I was YouTubing trying to get caught up, I saw apparently I can't think of the guy who made this, but apparently this was a pitch for X-Files. It was supposed to be an episode of X-Files, and he was just trying to get in like the game. And so he wrote this as like his pitch to get hired at X-Files.
Would have been a good episode of X-Files too. I watched X-Files.
It would have been a heat episode. And so I think somebody after that he got on and somebody was like, yo, you should make this like a movie. And so here we are 25 years later. And yeah, he rolling in it. Did anybody else have any characters that they were particularly invested in? I don't know if I was invested in one in particular. Cause this ain't really a invest in anybody type movie. Like it's best not to invest. Yeah, Iris probably had the most kind of history or story. The turtle, bro. The turtle.
The turtle. Who's gonna take care of the turtle? You know.
Right. We'll pass it. Listen, we only got 2 mics. We're gonna upgrade one of these days.
Yeah, you
good. We in the trenches right now.
Now that you mention it, like when they mentioned that the turtle lives for like 100 years, this was after they talked about like killing somebody will give you their lives, and I thought for a second that they were going to try to kill the turtle. Like I thought it might come up in the movie, just to try it out, see what happens.
Yeah.
That would have been great. I think that would have been perfect.
That would have been crazy. Yes.
Yeah,
he's not. I think that's what's funny too is as crazy enough, I don't like horror movies. For some reason, I watch all of them. But I do like the Scream franchise. And the Scream is really good at like being meta And in Scream, there's always rules, right? Like they have the sector rules, like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, don't be the one having sex, don't be the funny person, whatever it is. And there's supposed to be rules in Final Destination, and there's literally the only rules are what? You kill somebody, you take their lifespan, and if you die and come back.
And you got all the deaths happen in order of the premonition.
Right. Yes, they happen in order, except for the second one. Something happens and it like reversed the order.
They should have just killed JB because he was about to die anyway. No, they could have just killed him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yes, he had cancer. So he would have been gone anyway.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I forgot.
I'm
sorry. It was gonna be so good too.
So, I know I said this in the Tony Todd bit, but it's really interesting to me that I don't remember. Like I said, I didn't watch 5 again, but I think the people from 2, I think, are the only ones to ever survive out of this whole franchise, right? Because she died and was resuscitated driving the car into the lake or whatever, however that happened. Because I remember that like somebody had a baby or something, and it was that they created life. But then I went and did a YouTube rabbit hole, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I made that up in my mind some kind of way.
It was 4.
4 was
What was that?
they thought it was the baby thing.
It was the baby thing, but the lady wasn't going to die, so they thought the lady had the baby. It was cool, but then they seen the premonition. She actually wasn't going to die.
Yeah, something. So then they drove into the thing so that's like really funny in this thing that they brought that back. Like, oh well, there's hope here, but also like, nah, you know. That's actually hilarious to me. But anyway,
Okay, I remember my question. Do y'all find issue with the fact that it's like it goes in order, right? And of course, there's families, but I guess I feel like it should just do the whole line of people before it goes to the next person.
You mean like her, like it should have been like the brother and then the sister before it went down to the kids who were younger?
Yeah,
I thought that
because
too, because I thought that was kind of weird.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the lineage, instead of it being.
So it goes like if you were the first to die, it's gonna kill your whole bloodline.
because it never should have existed.
Because it never should.
And then it goes
Right.
Go to the next.
Yeah.
I mean, but I feel like it should go in order of who was
Age,
born
right?
next.
Yeah.
Because that would be the person that wouldn't exist next, not your child.
No,
Well, that's how it was, because it was the older brother,
Right.
then his whole family, because that's his blood.
Yeah, but I'm saying it should be the brother, then the sister. Oh, you got
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you're saying that it should have been like the older brother with the piercings. Then it should have been Stephanie because she's the next
No.
oldest.
Saying the uncle.
Uncle, then the mom, then the kids,
Yeah.
and then the kids by age.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they could have went with that too. Yeah.
I think it should be by who was born first.
They could. I guess they.
And I feel like it should be with the survivors of the, like JB should have died before the next generation of kids. Like, yeah.
And I mean, yes, probably, but it's supposed to.
I think it's because he would have died last, right?
Yeah,
Because
so
he-
it's
I mean,
basically like none of these people should have existed, so they need to go right now.
Yeah.
So if,
He would have died earlier, so he should have died earlier.
Exactly.
but he wouldn't have, because none of these people should have been born anyway.
And death is, I think, so that would make sense if they had done it that way. It would make sense, but I think they did it that way also to emphasize that death is really fucking petty.
Yeah.
'Cause there's a lot of hints at that. So especially with with Tony Todd, with JB immediate being like, "Don't fuck with death," it gets messy, and immediately they try to plot and skip some stuff out, and it's really gruesome
Yes.
and horrible and agonizing. That was probably the most agonizing death out of all of them
was
because
pretty
it was
bad.
like super drawn out and
That
not
was
sudden.
bad.
But if death is that petty, then death in this concept, I think is like, okay, you aren't supposed to be here. and none of y'all supposed to be here. So I'm gonna make sure that it's like stomping somebody. You beat somebody at a fight, and you're like, yeah, and then you just keep stomping them because you're like, they already down. Yes.
It's funny too, because death, like in the world, is a force, but they almost make it seem like death has a schedule. And you saved all these 150 motherfuckers, and now you got me off schedule, and now I have to take decades to kill all the 150 people that died before, and I have to literally go one by one and kill all of y'all and all y'all family, and take my time doing all this to come back to y'all.
Plus all the other people whose time it just is.
Yeah. Plus my regular schedule, I gotta keep
Like
you got me working
he
overtime.
got other stuff to do. That's the kind of thing. This is a crazy pet project. He got Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah. Hold on. And then on top of that, it's some motherfucker that's giving people premonitions and stopping what I'm doing.
Question about this. So, what if like in this universe, Final Destination universe, in somebody's bloodline along the way, somebody was supposed to die and cheated death, and that's just regular death. It's like over time, we're all just getting got for someone earlier in our bloodline that didn't die. I think that could be what they're going for. A lot of our ancestors all cheated death to get over to this continent. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just like over time, it's just like, yeah.
Right.
Final Destination. I'm a star.
I'm a star. No, right, yeah. Final Destination slave trade. Jesus. Bloodlines for real.
Jordan Peele do that one.
That's crazy. Yeah, it was, the thing about all these movies is, even like, I know Jamie doesn't like it. But even in it all, I appreciate like being able to see it and even just discuss it with y'all. Like, that always makes it more fun. You know what I mean? When you got your people there and y'all can just talk about it and get different ideas and thoughts. And two, I think in all these Final Destinations, like I said, it's funny, it's comedy. Everybody doesn't get out of there. But I do think what Tony Todd said is a very poignant message. Like, you got to appreciate the time you have here and the community and relationships and all of this stuff, because we really don't know. And at the end of the day, everybody dies. Even in this film, like, there is no last girl or last whatever. Like, no, we all getting out of here at some point.
I thought that was a really lovely cinematic eulogy for him.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I thought,
Hell yeah.
I was like really happy that he was able to come back for this, because I would say he's probably most known for Candyman.
Yes.
But like for this is like his second most known thing, and for it to come back right before that just feels nice. Mm.
So yeah, I don't know. Does anybody have any other thoughts, questions, things they would like to share with the court? You want to know everybody's favorite horror movie? Do I have to pick a specific movie, or can it be the franchise? Because I really like the Scream franchise. Yeah, I really like Scream. For some reason, I like the Halloween franchise, although Michael Myers scares the shit out of me. I like that. Bro, I'm going to tell the story now. So this one time, it was in high school, right? It was me. I was with two of my homies. We was going over my homeboy's girlfriend's parents' house. They was like having this little thing, right? So we get over there, and we like run up to the door. We knocking on the door, and they're like, yo, hold on, wait. You know what I'm saying? We're going to come to the door in a second. So I'm standing, it was my boy DeAndre and my boy AJ. And I'm the first person at the door. And so I'm knocking, and then I look over to my right, and Michael Myers is like walking towards me. It's like, when I looked over there, it's like CJ, like this distance, and I couldn't say nothing. And I started punching DeAndre, and we see it, and then we scream, and we take off, and I bust through their glass. They had a glass screen door. I bust through their screen door, and we take off sprinting down the street, dog. Literally sprinting, and like AJ tried to like jump on my back and like ride me out, and we took off running. And like at some point in the run, I realized it was a joke. And I started laughing, and it was the craziest thing. We broke their screen door. That's the best prank anybody ever put on me. But when I tell you, I was like, Yeah, because like it was literally like me to CJ or me to here by the time like and she had walked up from the back. She had the full jumpsuit, the match. She had everything, dog. That shit was sick, man. Sick. Sick. Yes, right.
I also really like the Scream franchise, but horror movies, there's so many of them, it's really hard to pick a favorite. I would say my current favorite right now is a film from Norway called The Ugly Stepsister. It's a body horror retelling of Cinderella. Pretty like faithful retelling of Cinderella too,
Yeah.
but just like really horrific to watch. And it
Jesus.
just came out this year, but it is wonderful. The Ugly Stepsister.
The
And it
Ugly
has a lot to
Stepsister.
do with like sort of like old school like feminism and body image and feeling, you know, not pretty enough and all the lengths that people might go to like make themselves what they think
Yeah.
society wants them to be, and it
Interesting.
is wonderfully gross. So yeah, that's my favorite of the moment.
That's the sound
Yeah,
of
lost the
police.
mic in the couch cushion.
Yeah, I'm gonna just pass it. I'm sorry.
You ain't got one?
I don't have one.
Okay.
I'm not big into horror, but I think my fave would be Get Out, Jordan Peele's.
For sure.
Yeah.
Classic.
No, my favorite horror movie I'd say is probably Get Out. Honestly, Sinners is probably up there too at this
Of course.
point. But I'll give Final Destination some credit for some of their achievements in cinematography. They do such a good job of inciting your anxiety with just a camera angle. So if something is zoomed in on, if I zoom in on this water bottle right here, you're thinking instantly like, oh no, what's going to happen with this water bottle and this person that's standing near it that's going to lead to their demise. So I thought that I really enjoyed how they would use different camera angles to just like elicit emotion in me, and they didn't do anything but zoom in and see the person chopping slower. Now all of a sudden I'm thinking like, what's happening
In the beginning in that high rise, I was like,
yeah.
Yes.
And to that end, like that's kind of why I like Get Out is I love a good horror movie that has a puzzle to be figured out or something to anticipate, or something that you can try to predict. When you talked about the scene in the MRI room, like that subverted my expectations so much. I was figuring that all his facial piercings were going to go through his brother's face, and that was going to be the end of it. And that was not even close.
Not even close. Not even
Not
close.
even close. But they do a good job. Like you said, they're self-aware. They know, okay, the audience, we've kind of done this a few times for a couple decades now. If we start a scene like this and it goes in this cadence, they're going to expect this, and we can play with that. And actually, it's going to be a pump fake, and we're going to hit somebody else with a garbage truck or something like that. So,
and
that was really
it's
good.
funny too, going into that cinematography because I was sitting next to Sharayla, and when they were at the vending machine, they had the machine falling on you in focus.
Yes.
And then they took
The
it out of
sign.
focus. And they
Yes.
kind of took you there. They tricked you into thinking it was going to be that. And then you get in there and it's like, oh, it's not that. But they ended going back to the vending machine, spring, basically putting a bow on everything. Yeah, they are masters. And it's crazy too how they evolved, because I remember recently watched the first one and it was real basic.
Yeah.
Like everything was super like, oh, some water trickled out of somewhere and you
Yes.
fell in the tub and hung yourself. It was super basic. Now they didn't win.
Yeah, you could
Like
see.
you said, it
was a lot lower
crazy now.
budget back then.
Yeah,
It was
way lower budget, way lower budget.
way less effective effects on the screen, and you can always see like a green screen in the background as soon as something's about to happen behind them.
For sure.
Boy, Destination.
Hey man, get this boy on the game right now.
What's your favorite?
Rewatch it, they were trash. That's all I got.
Yes, the effects were they weren't. It was low budget. They ain't had that cash.
Yeah.
2000, man.
I would say my favorite because I guess more of a nostalgic reason why my favorite's my favorite, because I'll say Jeepers Creepers was like my first ever like scary movie.
Forgot about
And
that.
that kind of like got me into it because I remember I couldn't sleep for like weeks after I first saw it. But then yes. But then after I saw it, like I think like a couple months later, I watched it with my sister. Then I kind of like started really enjoying it for what it was, and just kind of like the jump scares and like the adrenaline rush that I got after watching them. So that kind of like got me into like scary movies. So yeah, that'd be mine for sure.
I asked the question. I don't have an answer. That's I just I mean I have a few. I have some tied. I'm gonna tie some. Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. Watching his clawed hand go down a man's behind in the shower, and I was so young, and I was like, his booty's on the TV. That's all I remember. And then it was blood, and I was like, oh God. So Nightmare on Elm Street for nostalgic purposes. The Human Centipede is a terrible film. It's a terrible film. And they're bad. But you can't. But if they came out with a fourth one, I would watch it.
Ain't seen it.
But
Ain't
why?
seen it. Won't be watching.
It's terrible. And then I think the last. Okay, I got 3. And then Metamorphosis. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that. Oh no, not Metamorphosis. It's the Swedish film in there celebrating the end of the summer solstice. Midsommar. Yeah,
Don't
I'm
know
like,
what it
that's
is,
not
glad
it.
I
I knew it
don't.
started with an M. Midsommar and Nightmare on Elm Street and whatever the other one was that I said.
So I'm glad you said Midsummer, but before I do that, I want to say that I think Scream, I've had like a somewhat heated conversation with horror fans about this. Not like friendship risking, but I 10 toes down hardcore believe Scream is the most consistent horror franchise in existence.
That's
Like
up for
the
debate.
quality is up. There's only one of them that I would consider that isn't good, and that's
Which one?
3.
Okay.
But three is still way better than a lot of horror movies, right? But my favorite horror movie is Hereditary, which is another Ari Aster film. Hereditary is so crazy because it flips the devil made me do it concept so hard. And you just really can't call it at all. It is not predictable. I was like Midsummer is brilliant and like deals with like anxiety and family trauma in the form of horror and stuff, which also why I like Mike Flanagan's like miniseries because the horror is all like trauma related horror stuff. But Midsummer, I would say you can kind of figure out what's happening and what's probably gonna happen. Hereditary is just like beating you upside the head with stuff. You're like, oh, that's not how I thought that was gonna go. Like literally at all. It's an A24 film. I don't know what it's available on. A24 has been on fire, by the way. But yeah, Hereditary for me, I think like between Jordan Peele and Ari Aster, like it's just up. They just like literally the two of them, I feel like elevated the quality of the horror genre. And ever since they stepped onto the scene, there's been way more higher quality, like good horror films that are actually good films coming out. So I really, respect them for that.
I got a question. Then, do you guys remember the first horror movie you saw, or the first one that scared you?
Nightmare on Elm Street for me
that
also.
Was the first
yeah,
one for you. I'll go ahead, Kes. I'll let you kick us off.
Mine is a different type of movie than that. It was Signs. Have you guys ever heard of Signs?
Yes.
Oh, so I'd still to this day, I'm a grown man. I can't do alien stuff because of that movie. So here's my story. I'm at home with my dad. We're watching this movie, and all the stuff with signs. The plot is like there are gonna be signs that XYZ is gonna happen. So we're watching it, and we get to like a really scary part in the movie when they're like in the cornfield or something like that. Our power goes off.
No.
Nope.
So to this day, that traumatized. I was like, I never want to see anything alien related.
Nothing with aliens
ever again.
So you don't watch alien movies?
I can't do alien stuff. I can't do it. Still,
like just any type of alien.
I can't
like
mess with
Independence Day.
I've watched Men in Black. This is like serious horror, like alien stuff.
Okay, got you. Like,
and then I think another movie that was just really unsettling. Speaking of Jordan Peele, is Us.
Yeah, Us is super unsettling.
Really unsettling.
Am I me? I don't know. To this day, I mean, like, it's something. If I'm ever off beat, it's not me. It's the other one.
Yeah, it's us was super unsettling. I'm really looking forward to him. That's about to
Yes,
come out.
same.
We're definitely gonna have to do that one.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do him. But
Our
yeah,
summer is gonna be packed. They
Yeah.
got so many movies we got because I think that come out in July too, don't it?
yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
I'll give y'all there's actually 3 movies from my youth that fucked me up. One of them. So actually there's four. Candyman was one. That was the first one. And it's so funny because I watched it as an adult and it's not as like scary as you think.
It's
like
more
there's not
poetic,
a bunch of
though.
Yeah. Yes. But Candyman was one. My godmama had me watching that. There's this movie called Pumpkinhead. And Pumpkinhead. Woo, Pumpkinhead scared
fucks, bro.
the
That is such a good
shit out.
movie.
I was like 5. Scared the hell out of me. Yes. Way too early. These are all like that early. It was Pumpkinhead. It was Candyman. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. That one jacked me up. But what's crazy is I wasn't even watching the movie. I was at my Uncle Willard house. My brother Harry and his friends was watching it. And I walked in there and they told me not to come in. I walked in and it was when Mekhi Phifer was getting killed and he like popped out the stove and like stuck him in the neck. And I seen that is stuck in my head for the rest of my life. And then the last one, this ain't even a horror movie, but you know what scared the shit out of me? Vampire in Brooklyn. Vampire in Brooklyn, dog. Because I was a kid. I was a kid, dog. Eddie Murphy, Vampire in Brooklyn, dog. Fucked me up.
By the way, go watch that movie now as an adult. It holds the hell up.
Vampire
It
in
is
Brooklyn?
So good. Yes.
For real?
Yes.
All right.
It's so good. Like really, really underrated Vampire in Brooklyn. Wes Craven, director of Scream.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get over it, bro. I'm gonna watch it first thing in the morning while the sun shines. Open my blinds and legend, man. He might be the one.
Yeah.
Might be the one.
I think the first horror movie that really spooked me out when I was a kid was probably Scream 3. Scream 3 had this thing where people could change their voices and stuff like that. So anybody could be tricking you at any time.
Yes.
But so that was like sort of psychologically scary to me, but something that was like really primally scary to me, speaking of movies that aren't horror films, Sleeping Beauty. Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty. When I was a kid, there's a when the princess gets back to the castle and as she's being like led up to like her demise or whatever, the way the score comes in is like dun, dun, and like it gets dark and you can see her eyes inside of a fireplace and it freaked me out, but I wore that tape out when I was a kid. I used to watch it every night. It would freak me out so much. And my mom was just like, maybe just don't watch Sleeping Beauty. But now it's one of my favorite movies because it like has like a lot of artistic value too. Like Maleficent used to scare the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Did you see Maleficent?
Yes, I don't like it.
Didn't you? After you saw Maleficent, didn't you have like, empathy for her and her like origin story and how she like,
No, because that's not what happened.
That is what happened. That's her backstory.
That's what happened in that movie. That's not what happened in Sleeping Beauty. That's a different thing. They was assassinating my bitch character. Get out of here, man. I love Angelina Jolie too. I was so looking forward to it, man.
You got one?
I'll come back. You mentioned Human Centipede, which brought me back to like that era of movies because I was thinking that there's only one movie that ever made me like jump scare, but I don't remember the name of it. I just watched it in the theater and then I never saw it again. There was a kid involved as there usually is, and no, I really don't remember. But I think I want to say the first movie that I watched was The Ring. I want to say it was The Ring.
The Ring. Is that coming on TV?
Yeah. I think that might have been my first horror movie experience. It was a lot. Yeah, the 7 days thing, because we used to say it in school. Yes. Right? People would be whispering to you in class. 7 days. It's like, all right, chill, bro. Like, don't do that.
I was sick. We was sick in school, man. We was sick.
Yeah.
We was sick.
Yeah.
We didn't have memes back.
No, word of mouth. That's all we had. Right. Well, yeah, I guess that's it, y'all. Appreciate everybody being here. This is our second time, our second outing of the Mainstreet Movie Club. We've had some good movies, and I'm excited for the summer, man. We're gonna have to kick it up. There's a lot of stuff coming out. So thank everybody for being here. Looking forward to the next one. Love it. Signing off. Yeah.